I live? I think so. Yes. Well, unfortunately, we had a little surge and I went away, but I'm back. Anyway, I'm going to call this Mabon part 2 because we had a little something dimmed here and there's no rain or anything, but you never know why. Anyway, I was putting up a video link. I don't know if it came up in the other. I was talking about YouTube and I was talking about how useful it can be for us pagans these days. These things did not exist when I was an up-and-coming pagan Wiccan witch person. It did not come up. We did not have YouTube. We did not have the internet, and it didn't glitch. Or people taught us. I was taught directly through by people. Anyway, I'm a people, and that's why I'm here. And I think that some of the best ways to learn is to just listen to somebody else tell you their experiences or what they know. And it's not always the same, and it's not always right for you, but it is what it is. And it's good to hear from your elders and people who've been doing this I've been doing this now. How old is my? I think it's like almost 30 years, some 20 something years. And so I know some things. I know things my way. I also learned a lot of the things I learned in New York. I learned from some very interesting people, aside from Joe Zukowski and Carol Buzone and Lady Rhea, who are really wonderful witches and pagan people, and Anthony Russell. And I was studied with people in the Fellowship of Isis here in New York City, as well as other wonderful Wiccan people throughout the city. Alexei Kondrotiev was one of my high priests, and in a coven called Nesemites that I was initiated into. And he was a very well-known Celtic scholar, Celtic speaker, and unfortunately has left us on this plane. And Len Rosenberg, his partner as well, was my other high priest. It was a very interesting coven. So I've been here for a bit, and it's got my paganism has a uniquely New York flair. It's an urban version of paganism, and when I start talking about stuff, it's hard for us here in New York and in cities to, I think every city, it's harder than to be feeling the seasonal change as much as people who are absolutely with the earth. It's so wonderful and apparent in the country, and I've been, and I do go quite often as possible into nature. But here, it's tricky. So if you're in a city, I speak to you as a city witch, get to a park. Just get to a park. Get to any park. It can be tiny park. It can be just a bench and a tree park. But get somewhere where there's absolutely is nature. And take a look at the changing colors of the animals' feathers and how they look different and than they did maybe a few months back. And the light, how the light has changed. That's something to observe. That's really important. And also the color of the sky itself. The color of the sky absolutely changes based on the sun itself and how much of the sun we get. So at this time of the year, it deepens. And take a look at the stars at twilight and the sunset and how the colors of the sunset may be different now. And smell the air, because there's always something happening in the air. You can smell the season change. I smelled this a few weeks ago, I said to my husband, fall's here. Fall's coming, and you can smell it. Even if it's warm, you can sort of smell it. It's just a difference. So I would suggest for a person who's new to this, if that's what you're doing here, because this is for multi-levels, but if you're new to or you're old at this, get back to nature, because sometimes we get lazy and we think we know, and we think we know enough. But I say that every single Sabbath is a different one, even though we're celebrating the same idea, because every harvest is different and every planting season is different and every person is different every year. This is a different time in your life than it was last year at this time. What is the difference? That's what these Sabbaths are so helpful for us all, just to settle in and say, how have I changed? What's changed? Okay, so there's that. So a lot of people we'll go back to talking about what to do on the Mabon. And if you have other ideas, I really ask you, please write them here. Put them in the comment section on this, or put them in the comment section right after this video, or on the group, or anywhere. I'm going to make sure people see this and that they can enjoy it for as long as they want. So It's a wine festival harvest also, so a lot of people start making, this is when the grapes come in and wine is pressed. So a lot of people do use wine at their Sabbats and beer, because this would be a time they'd be kind of ready. Okay. There's lots of different names for this. I'm looking at these names. They're so funny. There's a name called Equinuzio di Autunno, which is a strega name, Italian, or Elben Elfed, right? Which we said before, or cornucopia. Winter finding is a Teutonic or Norse word for this time, a way of saying it. And this is from this Sabbath until Winter's Night, which is New Year's. Okay, so that's a long, nice, fun stretch of harvest fun. And this is an important time to dress well. This is pretty good, I guess. It's not my finest sweater, but you want to dress for the holiday as well. So people will take out things in their closets if they don't have finery. Well, they'll find something that they love, and then it has these colors, the autumn colors, and then each Sabbath has its own particular look. So this one is about abundance and beauty and richness. So go crazy, dress real well, dress pretty, dress fancy, be handsome, wear a beautiful pocket square, wear a beautiful scarf, make yourself beautiful, wear special oils and use special incense, drink special drinks, celebrate the holiday any way you like, but think of it as a holiday, just like we think of any other normal Christian American holiday. Okay, so let's see. Well, there's herbs we can use at this time of the year. I'd say some of those are very interesting. Of course, roses, which are coming in now, sage also coming in, thistle coming in, milkweed also coming in. This is time to harvest those things as well. This is a great time to get your honeysuckle. They're really rich at this time, and they smell amazing. So pull them in and use them. If you wanted to make an incense, a simple incense idea, if you wanted to gather these things, you can get some benzoin, which is a sort of a rich, dark tree type incense, myrrh and sage, or just sage. You can just use sage. Like we said before, again and again, my sweater has almost all the colors: red, orange, russet, maroon, brown, and gold. Good. Also, if you want to dress yourself with your sapphires, your lapis lazuli, and yellow agates, that's the time to do it. So also, this is a time when people, like I said before, are canning, drying herbs, drying seeds in pods. And if you want to, this is a particularly wonderful time to leave a blessing, a harvest blessing, and a gift to the god and goddess. Everybody's got a different deity that they like to work with, a god or a goddess or not, but there's some that work for this one. Because Modron, which is the goddess of Mabon, Morgan, Epona, Persephone, Muses, Thoth, Thor, Hermes, and of course the Green Man. So this is a time to look those things up. Say, if you're interested in those gods and goddesses and you didn't understand what I just said, or you want to know more about them, because that's a confusing subject. There's bazillions of gods and goddesses to really, really research when you start doing this work. So write to me. You can private message me through the group here, or you can find me on Facebook. You can find me through the Magic Apothecary page, and you should join that one if you want to find out more stuff that's going on. And there I have a lot more stuff, and it gets to be a little thicker as far as reading and information that I spread. And I also have all of my products on there. I do make things myself for others and for myself. I make everything from candles to incense to oils to makeup that has magical properties to it. And I am also an herbalist and a licensed sound healer. I do aromatherapy and massage and all these things. All of these things are, for me, the path I chose as a witch, which was as a healer. So I work with the healing things. I work with herbs and natural things. That's my path. Everybody's got a different one. So it's a time of balance. I say that. It's a time of balance. And it's a time of stopping and thinking, as we said before several times. It's also a time to give thanks. Leave offerings for the god and goddess. You can leave stuff in parks, by the beach, in the woods, and it should be something that is biodegradable and easily taken by animals if that's if it's meant to be. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, plants, nothing poisonous, Nothing plastic. Please never put anything plastic in the earth. I try never to. I hope you do too. So I'm looking at, and you can too. There's tons of things, but I had this saved from my in-person classes, celebrations around the year, around the world. So there's different things. We just talked about the Rosh Hashanah being one of the things. Did you know that on this day, at a certain time, when the Earth is extremely right up and down on its axis, it is perfectly easy to balance an egg on its end. This is the same thing as the vernal equinox in the spring, and a lot of people do that for fun because of Ostara and eggs and that symbolism. But at this time of the year, you can also do it here. If you felt like putting an egg on its end, you'd have to look up the exact moment of the equinox. And I've done it, and it does work, and it's really funny. So anyway, so of course we're talking about being a pagan holiday, but there are other things aside from Rosh Hashanah. This is Oktoberfest, and this is again about the new beer and celebrating the beer, and it starts the last week of September. In China, they have a mid-autumn festival held on the night of the harvest moon on the 15th day of the year's 8th lunar month. So in the middle of the month, there's a Chinese moon festival that has to do with, of course, harvest. By the way, Thanksgiving was originally held in the United States on October 3rd. I get that you didn't know that. And it's been moved to the fourth Thursday in November. Okay, so our Thanksgiving was actually very close to Mabon in its original inception. Also, there's a moon gazing festival in China and in Japan, and this again is for harvest. Again, right at the same time. So here we are, it's harvest. What have you harvested? What has the earth harvested? What has your neighborhood harvested? What has your family harvested? What have you brought in? What did you plant? And what are you sowing? And what do you want to plant again? It's time to look at the seeds. It's time to say, what am I going to do with my possibilities? So that's my talk for the night. I hope that you all liked it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you feel inspired to do a lot of things about this, with this lovely holiday. I'll be celebrating tomorrow night, thinking of all of you and wishing you all the bright blessing that God and Goddess can send you, and that you have an exceptionally bountiful harvest, and that you have a happy and wonderful year coming up. And let's keep going with this. I will try to make this earlier next time. I will definitely make it at 8 o'clock, like my other talks, not 10. That again was a typo. So we'll see you again in a month or so. I will definitely put things up. Many bright blessings, and thank you for being here. Have a good night.